Hello, and welcome back to another IB Math Speedrun with me, Fitz. Today, we will be finishing off Chapter 2 by finishing all the challenges in Chapter 2.5, which concern yourselves with function transformations. So let's jump right in. So, um, the first function transformation we need to know about is mapping a function onto its some sort of absolute value. So for any function, y is equal to f of x. Well, we need to know what the graph of the absolute value of x would look like. And this is pretty simple. If we have our x-axis and y-axis, and say we have a function that looks like this, well, if we have the absolute value of the function, we covered this earlier, for everything above the y-axis, where y is greater than 0, it would be the exact same, but for everything below the y-axis, we would have it mirrored to be above the y-axis. So the red line is absolute value of f of x, and the blue line is simply f of x. So yeah, that's what it would look like. But how about, there's one other absolute value transformation we need to know, and it's that it's equal to when y is equal to f of the absolute value of x. And well, what would this look like? Well, for positive values of x, let's use something more distinct, like a cubic function. For positive values of x, this would be the exact same, since the absolute value of a positive value of x is the same thing. But for negative values of x, what this would actually mean is that they would take on the same y values as the positive values. And so in effect, we would be mirroring this function along the y-axis, like so. And so this would be y is equal to f of absolute value x, and this would be y is equal to f of x. Okay, so that's all we need to know, and now we can jump into some questions. Yep, so the first set of questions we have, actually it's pretty short for this challenge. It's simply for each function, y equals f of x, draw y is equal to the absolute value of f of x, and the y is equal to f of the absolute value of x. So the first function we're doing, we'll do all the odd ones this time, is y is equal to 2 minus 5x. So if we draw our axes here, well, what does this look like normally? This would look something like this. Now we need to find what the absolute value of f of x looks like, and if you remember, it's the exact same as the normal function, but once we hit this intercept with 0, we need to mirror this part of the function to this side. So it will look something like that. So this is the absolute value of 2 minus 5x. Finally, we need to do f of the absolute value of x. So we know that for positive values of x, this will be the exact same. And to get the values for negative values, we simply mirror the positive values over onto this negative side. So it will look like this. This would be 2 minus 5 absolute value of x. And yeah, that's it for this one. So let's move on to the next function. So the next function is y is equal to 1 minus x plus 3x squared. So what does this look like by default? This would look something like y-intercept 1 will look something like this. Oh, wait, let's do it. It's because my y-axis is actually skewed a bit. Let's fix that. There, much better y-axis. So now we can draw a function that looks like what we're looking for, which is something like that. And we need to one minus. Actually, this doesn't have roots. Yeah, this actually doesn't have roots. So sorry, I drew this wrong. It should look something more like this. And yeah, so now we can look at the different parts. So this is that. For the absolute value, well, it never touches the negative line, so the absolute value would be the exact same graph. Oh, it would also be the exact same thing because 1 minus x plus 3x squared never reaches negative values, so this would be that. But how about for f of absolute value of x? Well, now it's a bit different. So on the positive side, we have the exact same line. But on the negative side, remember, we mirror the line. So it should look like this. So this would be 1 minus absolute value of x plus 3 times the absolute value of x squared. And yeah, um, that should be good. Okay, so now on to the next one. And the final one for this challenge will be the function y is equal to 2 over 3x minus 1. So what does this graph look like by default? This graph would look something like, well, we have an asymptote when x is equal to 1/3. So it would look something like this. Okay? And so to get the absolute value, remember we mirror to the positive side anything below 0. So the absolute value of this function would look like this. And how about for this when we take the absolute value of x? Well, remember for the positive values of y, this would look the exact same. But as soon as we hit negative values of y, we would mirror the positive side. So it would look something like this. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah, that was it. So I hope that you're now confident in absolute value transformations, and I hope to see you in the next speedrun.